All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys again so much for coming over, man. We are back on the Grunge channel. Hey, shout out to all these icons that's going to be in this video. The longevity. So we got the oldest classic rock icon still living. Wow, man, the journey. And you know, a lot of them, they still sound great. So appreciate the Grunge channel for this video. Make sure you guys check out their channel. They got a lot of amazing videos. And as always, shout out to all the good humans. Link is always in the description for those who are asking. So we ain't gonna waste no more time. Let's jump right into it.
A little thing like dehydration isn't going to stop rock stars from getting back on the stage into their 70s and 80s. From British invaders to counterculture mainstays, some icons just never stop rocking. Born in 1939, Grace Slick is best known as the lead singer of Jefferson Airplane. They were one of the top psychedelic rock acts of the 1960s, with released era-defining hits like White Rabbit and Somebody to Love. Jefferson Airplane were also known for their connection with the era's hippie counterculture. She soon pursued a solo career, though she would also reunite with a later incarnation of her band when they were known as Jefferson Starship. Slick was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1996, and as recently as 2010, she released new music, though she rarely performs live in her later years. Born in 1940, Phil Lesh played bass guitar for the Grateful Dead for 30 years, joining the band in 1965 when they were still known as the Warlocks. Like Jefferson Airplane, the Dead were huge parts of the Haight-Ashbury neighborhood in San Francisco and counterculture scene in the 60s. Alas, the band ultimately broke up following the death of frontman Jerry Garcia in 1995. Since then, Lesh has continued to stay active in the music industry, which has included touring with his solo band Phil Lesh and Friends, and as recently as 2015, he reunited with his younger surviving Grateful Dead brethren. They billed themselves as Fare Thee Well after the Grateful Dead song Ripple, and played for multiple nights that summer. Also born in 1940, Ringo Starr is of course best known as the drummer for the Beatles, one of the most influential rock and roll groups of all time. They first became popular in the early 60s, and by the middle of the decade, they were one of the most famous bands in the entire world. In 1967, they released Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, which is frequently cited as one of the greatest albums in rock and roll history. The band broke up in 1970, but Starr's solo career has blossomed over the last 5 decades. In 2015, he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for his solo work after previously getting in with the Beatles in 1988. In 2010, he played a rendition of the famous Beatles song Birthday with his younger former bandmate Paul McCartney, who was born in 1942. The two surviving Beatles are reportedly still close, though as of 2022, they've shelved any plans for a potential reunion.
Peace and love.
Rock icon Bob Dylan is still alive and well, celebrating more than 6 decades in the rock and roll business. Born Robert Zimmerman in 1941 in Duluth, Minnesota, Dylan rose to prominence in the early 60s with folk anthems like Blowing in the Wind and The Times They Are A-Changin'. A few years later, he embraced the electric guitar, and his 1965 song, Like a Rolling Stone, defined the counterculture of the decade for many people. Dylan has continued to release plenty of new albums over the subsequent decades, and he's also won multiple Grammy Awards and even the Nobel Prize in Literature. In 1988, he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. In 2021, he began yet another worldwide tour, which is scheduled to conclude in 2024. Both born in 1941, Paul Simon and Art Garfunkel are still kicking today. They first recorded together in 1964 with their debut album Wednesday Morning, 3 a.m. They were largely propelled by their smash hit The Sound of Silence, which eventually became a #1 chart-topping single. In 1967, they famously provided the soundtrack for the film The Graduate, which iconically featured their song Mrs. Robinson. But as the wild and crazy 60s came to a close, so did the duo's working relationship. They both pursued solo careers, and Garfunkel also acted in several movies. He's also released 12 solo albums since the band split. Simon has also had a very successful solo career, winning awards for his albums like Still Crazy After All These Years and Graceland. In 1990, Simon and Garfunkel were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and in 1998, they were inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame. Simon also made his way into the Rock Hall as a solo artist in 2001. They formed the Rolling Stones way back in 1962, and more than 6 decades later,
man.
Mick Jagger and Keith Richards are still a big part of the rock and roll scene.
Legends.
Both born in 1943 in Dartford, Kent, England, Jagger and Richards came to prominence with their band thanks to hit singles like I Can't Get No Satisfaction and Paint It Black. After a brief hiatus in the late 80s, the Stones have continued to tour and release new music regularly. In 1989, they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Both Jagger and Richards have also released several solo albums, though they've never been nearly as successful on their own as they have with the Stones. In 2022, Jagger, Richards, and other surviving band member Ronnie Wood embarked on a 60th anniversary European Rolling Stones tour, with shows in the United Kingdom, Germany, and the Netherlands, among other countries.
Where'd you get that, Keith? That's a nice piece of chocolate.
Manna from heaven.
Born in 1944, guitar god Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin is still rocking around today. Zeppelin broke out in the late 60s on the back of Page's virtuoso axe skills, which skillfully blended rock and roll and blues into an incredibly powerful and unique sound. In the 1970s, they were one of the hottest acts in the world, selling out stadiums and enjoying incredible commercial success. Unfortunately, the band broke up in 1980 upon the death of drummer John Bonham. Afterwards, Page released a number of solo records. In 2008, he co-produced and co-starred in the documentary It Might Get Loud with fellow guitarists Jack White and The Edge. Page reunited with his fellow surviving Zeppelin bandmates Robert Plant and John Paul Jones as recently as December 2007, when they all played together at the O2 Arena in London. And in 2012, they were honored together at the Kennedy Center. And they won a Grammy in 2014 for the live album Celebration Day. Legendary Pink Floyd member and outspoken political activist Roger Waters is still thumping away at the bass today. Born in 1943 in Surrey, England, he and his band rose to fame in the mid.
I was trying to get through this video without pausing, but it's just like this list. That's when you know you got it. You know what I mean? If you can still be going and people still show up and you still selling out, that's when you know you got it, man. Baby, you got it. No, it's just crazy to me, man. I'm just looking at like how when they were so young and then to see them wiser now and they just still like all the vocal training and stuff, they still sound great. Man.
60s. In the following decade, Floyd became one of the best-selling acts on the planet, thanks to their classic albums Dark Side of the Moon, Wish You Were Here, and The Wall. But then in 1985, Waters left the band. He began to work on his solo career, which he's kept up in the ensuing years. In 2005, he reunited with his former bandmates David Gilmour, Nick Mason, and Richard Wright for the Live 8 concert series. And back in 1996, Pink Floyd were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Waters still tours with his solo band, including the This Is Not a Drill tour in 2022. At the start of the tour, he created some controversy over his outspoken political views, which wasn't really anything new for Waters. Guitarist, singer-songwriter Steve Miller is still going strong today as the leader of his eponymous group, the Steve Miller Band. Born in 1943 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, he started playing professionally in the 60s with psychedelic-infused blues rock. In the following decade, he and his band scored big with hits The Joker and Fly Like an Eagle, and they continued to release music into the 80s and 90s. Miller still toured consistently into the 2000s, though his days...
thinking like all these artists that were born in like the 1940s, man. Woo, so many iconic legends. It's like when people be talking about, I always like to compare the NBA just because that's like what I know, like the back of my hand. But like when they always talk about what was the best draft class, like that class of when Kobe Bryant was a rookie, all those players in that draft class, man, whoo. So like if you were born in 1942 and you end up being a singer, boy, you had some competition. My goodness.
Of releasing chart-topping hits were largely over. In 2016, Miller and his band were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Throughout their illustrious career, they've released 18 studio albums, with the most recent effort being 2011's Let Your Hair Down. As of early 2023, the band is still touring throughout the United States.
That's great.
Yeah, I remember everything, you know.
Just as rowdy and racy as he ever was, Rod Stewart is still winning over the hearts of his legions of fans. Born in 1945 in London, England, he first became popular as a member of the Jeff Beck Group in the late 60s. After leaving that band, he caught on with The Faces, before his burgeoning solo career soon took center stage. With singles like Maggie May, You Wear It Well, and Do You Think I'm Sexy, Stewart has firmly staked his place among rock and roll royalty. In 1994, Stewart was officially inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He's still writing and recording new music, having released the live album You're in My Heart. Rod Stewart with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra in 2019. As of early 2023, he was still on the road with his solo band and had announced plans for a worldwide tour that would take place throughout the year. Born in 1944 in London, The Who frontman Roger Daltrey has been a major part of the rock and roll scene since the 60s. As the lead singer of an iconic band with an exceptionally powerful voice, his memorable performance at the 1969 Woodstock Festival helped his band become one of England's best-selling acts the following decade. Daltrey also launched a solo career in the early 70s, and throughout his time as a rock god, he's been known for his habit of swinging his microphone around like a giant lasso.
And I just got bored and I thought, I've got this thing in my hand that I'm fed up with holding up there. What do I do with it?
In the decades since, Daltrey has continued to pursue his solo career, and he occasionally still plays with his...
Man made an iconic movement because he was bored, and it just became legendary. See? Again, when you got it, you got it.
Who bandmate Pete Townsend, who was born in 1945. In 1990, the band was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, with U2 frontman Bono serving as their presenter. As of early 2023, Daltrey was embarking on multiple tours, including with his solo band and as a part of The Who. John Fogerty was born in 1945 in Berkeley, California, even though his music often sounds like it came out of the Deep South. Rock fans first fell in love with him during his time as the frontman of Creedence Clearwater Revival, and he's since gone on to enjoy a successful solo career. With hit singles like Centerfield and The Old Man Down the Road, he established himself as one of the top rock and roll songwriters of the 80s. Since then, Fogerty has continued to regularly put out new music and tour. In 2019, he released the live concert album 50-Year Trip, Live at Red Rocks, which was shot at the famous Red Rock Amphitheater in Morrison, Colorado. Beginning in 2020 during COVID-19 pandemic lockdowns, Fogerty formed the band Fogerty's Factory, which is a collaboration with several of his kids. Together, they performed renditions of famous Creedence songs like Who'll Stop the Rain and Proud Mary, as well as Fogerty's solo material like Hot Rod Heart. In early 2023, Fogerty bought the publishing rights to the Creedence catalog, finally giving him control of his own music again.
Oh, that's dope. Shout out to you, brother. All the artists, man. Get your music. Get it. Go get that music, man. I'm going to check them out with his kids. That's dope, man. That's like a parent's dream right there. They all look so chill and so happy. That's dope. Comment below if y'all have checked them out. I might have to listen to something.
Catalog, finally giving him control of his own music again.
That's dope.
Born in 1947 in Outland, Mexico, guitar virtuoso Carlos Santana made his way stateside when he was just a teenager, but he's always stayed connected with his Mexican roots musically. In 1966, he formed the Santana Blues Band, which eventually became known as just Santana. In 1969, they performed at Woodstock, where he cemented his name as one of the biggest legends in rock and roll history. In addition to performing with his band, Santana also embarked on a solo career starting in the 70s. In 1998, he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and he was ranked 15th on Rolling Stone's list of the 100 greatest guitarists of all time. In the summer of 2022,
just to think Carlos Santana is number 15. That's how you know that it is some legends out there, man. Carlos Santana, top 100 guitarists of all time, is number 15. And I know there was many greats that came before him. But like, when you hear, like when you like when he plays, you know it's him. If it was a song on the radio that you didn't know he was on and you heard that guitar, it was like, this is Carlos. You know what I mean? Wow, man. Hey, shout out to the 14 people ahead of him, boy. Ooh-wee.
Santana had a minor health scare during a concert in Michigan as he collapsed on stage after becoming severely dehydrated in the middle of a show. After taking a month off, he was thankfully able to return to the stage that August. As of early 2023, he was in the midst of a residency at the House of Blues in Las Vegas called An Intimate Evening with Santana.
Wow. Hey, shout out to the Grunge channel, man. This video, I love videos like this. And again, shout out to all the artists that are still going. I know you got like Ambrosia. You got my brother Christopher Cross, Michael McDonald. I'm trying to figure out, though, because they're like, they fall in the category of yacht rock. But, I mean, yeah. Hey, appreciate you guys coming over and watching. Hope y'all enjoyed. Comment below if you guys have seen anybody kind of recently. I mean, you guys know I seen Dead and Company. So, who else did I see? Hall and Oates. It's a lot of people still going, man. And shout out to them, because when it's fun, it's not work. You know, these brothers and sisters been doing this, you know, for so long. It's just second nature. Like, it's just fun, you know? It's fun. Especially when you are a person who, not saying you need to, but if you really feed off the crowd's energy, man, and you look at yourself and be like, man, I just had my damn 75th birthday. And you walk out on that stage and you see all those people out there to see you and your band and y'all. It's a great feeling. It's a great feeling, you know, to be around people who actually grew up with you in your music, who've been, you know, following your journey, and it's helped them through life on theirs. So yeah, this was great. This was great. Hey, appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching. Peace out.